Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast with two guys in their 20s, giving their perspective on the games that we love and the story behind it all. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. How's it going?
It's going good. It's almost Friday, man.
Yeah,
It's almost Friday. It's
definitely.
always fun. It's always fun.
Well, we have a lot of topics to get into today, as usual. And to start it off, for the most part of the game five against with OKC and Utah, it seemed as though Utah was in firm control. And then Rudy Gobert gets into foul trouble, and the Thunder go on a 25-7 run in the third quarter. I think Russ had uh, 45 points on 39 shots. Paul George had 34 points. And in that run, Carmelo, he was on the bench. He was primarily on the bench, and it was just Westbrook and George, their combined amazing effort. And Rudy Gobert got into foul trouble, and that seemed to kind of change the flow of how George and Westbrook could attack. Um, but with how that went and just the improbable comeback they have, they've obviously had issues with the mostly in this series. But what are your thoughts on how the series goes forward?
I think it's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. I think the saying, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, is what OKC is known for. But at the same time, I want to fall in love with that saying because I think OKC waits too late to try to come back in games. They don't set the tone in the first half or even the first quarter.
Yeah,
They don't set the tone at all. If a guy shots to get 40 points to try to win a basketball game to keep them alive in the series, that's detrimental to the basketball team. And like you said, Carmelo Anthony was on the bench. He only had 7 points. He's 0 for 2 for the 3-point line. He's becoming non-existent. He's not just. We knew he was going to be the same Melo from the Denver, the New York. If they finish and lose the series, you have to talk about becoming in foul trouble. Definitely made this transition of how they play defense different because he's the anchor of the defense. One of the for me the room, the opportunities to do pick and roll, to drive and try to finish at the rim most anything. But
right.
if Gobert is not in foul trouble, I don't think they they even come close to that streak or that the points that they made at the end. But they can't do that every season. They can't do that every game. No.
Yeah, and I feel as though that's really been the issue because Gobert has taken Westbrook. He's taken away Westbrook's main strength, which is attacking the rim. And when
Mm-hmm.
Gobert has when he has the ability to defend the entire paint by himself and to just to just make Westbrook even fear the thought of attacking the rim, that's a major advantage. Um, with with Utah and how Joe Ingles has played and how Mitchell has continued to play well, um, do you feel as though it'll that they'll continue to have a really good shooting performance? Because Joe Ingles and how he's given Paul George some fits in the two games in Utah and just this series overall. What are your thoughts on how his play has been? Because he's been pretty much like the most efficient 3-point shooter statistically this season.
Yeah, I think more than Ingles, I think Crowder had
Oh
a
yeah, Jay
phenomenal
Crowder,
game. Yeah,
pretty good
Jay
game.
Crowder had a phenomenal game coming off the bench, and we know he can be streaky at the 3-point line. So if everybody plays, okay, it's a lot of factors that played in that big run. I don't think a lot of people paid attention. Like we said,
Yeah,
Gobert was in foul trouble. Donovan Mitchell, he was kind of slow playing a little bit. But if these guys were not in foul trouble or the different circumstances, because we all know Russell Westbrook is not a 3-point shooter. If you take away his ability to slash and go to the rim, then
he
you
had
limit his
five.
ability.
Yeah, he had
Yeah,
five threes.
yeah. So I'll take that and you force Russell Westbrook to shoot the three because he's inconsistent. We talked about this, him shooting his team out of the game most of the time, him taking shots that he's not supposed to take.
Yeah,
So I'll live with that. Make him shoot the 3-point line. Make him beat you with his shooting ability. He's dominant. He's the best slasher and the finisher in the basketball game. You take that away, and that's what they did in the first. Well, not the first game, but the last two games. They stopped him, and then Paul George is going to be Paul George. He's going to get his points regardless. He started out slow, but I think Ingles stepped up. Jay Crowder stepped up. Donovan Mitchell has a great game. Rubio kind of makes his shot. I think they finish it out. Last game,
Yeah.
I believe, was a fluke to me, to be honest.
Yeah, it really felt as though with one of those things where, look, for for most of the time, it's been Carmelo getting great looks, not knocking them down, and still being in isolation heavy situations, and then Paul George having to create his own shot, but we know his great off ball ability. And with it's almost like they saw a glimmer of like, wow, Westbrook and George, just those two, it's really good, but we haven't done that in crunch time. We've had the big three together, and I don't think it's a coincidence that they found success with Melo on the bench and in crunch time. I don't know. I don't know if you would agree, but
I
I don't
totally
I don't
agree. I totally
yeah.
agree.
I just don't think it was a coincidence, but I feel like with Gobert's presence in there, I don't see him getting in foul trouble in back-to-back games. And I feel like he's going to be smarter. And Derek Favors in there, still able to neutralize what they can do inside. To me, I feel as though that Utah will close it out.
I do too. I don't think Westbrook scores 45, and I don't think Paul George. He shot 39 times. That's a lot of shooting to get
A
to
lot of
45 points.
shots.
A lot of shots. That's crazy, my gosh. But I think next game it'll be totally different. Like you said, I think Gobert will be more smart on the defense end and on the offense end. So yeah, I'm not worried for Utah. Utah's going to close it out.
So if Utah does close it out, and the future of OKC with them having a big plan with this big three and trying to make a deep run into the postseason, and if it ends in a first round loss to Utah, which is as we've seen a really good team,
Yeah.
not it's not like this is a bad team, this is a really good team. What are your thoughts on the future of OKC? I mean, obviously the Paul George situation, all those factors. How do you see it happening? I mean, how do you see it
I,
unfolding?
I see Melo either being released or traded. I think they entice or persuade Paul George to stay and go get somebody in the draft or somebody in the free agency. Leonard seems well. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there's a lot of guys that are available. I think Carmelo at his tail end. He's not that guy anymore. I don't think he fits there. I don't think he's comfortable in OKC. He can't be the guy he wants to be. I think he's out. They keep Paul George. I don't think Paul George is Lakers are not enough for Paul. I think he fits well with Russell Westbrook. He still gets his shot.
You think he likes this?
I think so because he was a similar situation with the Pacers, with George Hill, with
Yeah.
Lance Stevenson, those guys who went on the big run against Miami Heat and other teams. So I think he's used to being the guy. He hasn't changed at all. He still has the same role. He can great points off the dribble. He's a great defensive player. He can off dribble. He's great. So he's the same guy. I think he fits well with Russell, to be honest. But I think Carmelo is definitely out, either released or traded. That's what I see. I don't think Melo wants to be there anymore. You can tell by his interviews.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just like, yeah.
It's almost like why am I here?
Why do you want to talk to me?
Yeah. That's really the energy he's giving off. Like you guys know what's going on. I'm the third wheel. But for me, if this series ends with a Utah win, I think Paul George is gone. I
Wow.
I feel as though he'll. I'm not saying it's a definite, but I feel like the chances of him staying are not as good, and I think he'll probably go to the Lakers.
I hope
This
not. That's
this
not
is
a good fit for him to me. But I just don't think that's a good fit.
Yeah.
I
I'm not
really
saying
don't.
it's a definite. I'm not saying it's a definite, but I just feel as though to really entice Paul George to stay, the most ideal outcome would have been them making it to pushing Houston or Golden State in the second round to a 6 or 7 game series, and he would have kind of had the notion of, okay, like we can actually um, push the elite top tier teams in the West to the brink. And with the Lakers and how they're looking very good, and they have a bright future. I feel as though the upside there, it just entices him more to go there than it would to stay here. And he's having to create a shot a lot more. And we what taking nothing away from Russell Westbrook, there are so many issues with him making superstars better. That was the issue with Kevin Durant when he went with his last year, and now with Paul George, I feel as though it's the same thing where um, Westbrook, he's great when he's attacking, but in terms of making everybody around him better, what he can do off the ball, it's really limited, and I think Paul George is seeing that in a at a pretty alarming rate in the series.
Right. Well, I pose this question: do you think 1 year is enough to gel and to be that top tier team when you have three different identities coming on the same team? I know Miami Heat had had success. You got the Celtics having success with their big three, and
Yeah,
now you get OKC. I think there was different play. Well, I'm gonna pose
those
that
two teams
question. I
made
don't
it to
want to
the
answer the
finals in
question
the
for
first
you.
year, though.
Yeah,
Those
I
two
don't
teams
want to.
made
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Good.
no, but for me, I feel as though it's one of those things where this was like a 1 year rental. This had the possibility of
Mm,
being a 1 year rental. Like it was almost like OKC OKC was in the position of, hey, you've got a 1 year audition to convince Paul George that the upside here is better than the upside in LA. Like that's really what I feel like this season was like about for them enticing George to stay. I'm not saying that it's like definite he's like 100% gone. I just think I don't really see the upside if this is the result. And I feel as though he's expressed the interest there. Um, to me, I just feel as though it's the destination he would go. If things end out the way it's looking like it's going to end out.
hmm. Uh,
But yeah,
he's 27. I don't want to
yeah,
prolong this topic, but it's just interesting. He's 27. He's going to be around younger guys who lack the experience of the postseason, and you're going to a situation where you're going to have to really be Michael Jordan or LeBron James. Do you do you think he can be that type of player? Like you said, he has to create his shot more on this team. He's mostly a set shooter,
not if
seeing
a
the
second
ball.
superstar goes to LA. He's not going to have to be MJ if a second superstar goes to LA.
Mm, well, you make a good point. Okay, I'm done. I digress.
Yeah,
I digress.
that's it. And this is a lot of speculation, but to pretty much sum this up, a lot of things can happen in the offseason. Like this offseason with the free agents, um, there are some possibilities, especially with Kawhi Leonard, we're about to get into, and LeBron. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of these three free agents decide to do. Um, Speaking of Kawhi Leonard, the Spurs they lost to Golden State this past Monday and lost the series in five, and it's been the most kind of interesting and penetrating topic outside of just regular basketball with Kawhi Leonard and his decision to not even be at the games, doing rehab. I think in is it New York, um, or New York probably, but still just not really knowing what the desk what the future holds for Kawhi in the Spurs, and he has the ability to sign the supermax this offseason if he chooses. And the Spurs are saying they're going to have a meeting with him this offseason to see where things are going to pan out. But what are your thoughts on the future of Kawhi with San Antonio?
It's over. Uh, in my opinion, I think he doesn't want to stay there. And we always we talked about this multiple times and in multiple podcasts we've had in the previous times that Kawhi wants to be an all around player, and I think with the Spurs he can't upgrade himself. He can't polish his game with the Spurs because Spurs has team basketball. I think he wants to have an offensive mindset without the Spurs. We all know he's the claw. He's a great defender, but I think he wants that mama mentality. He actually worked out with Kobe Bryant
Yeah.
last summer. So I think he wants to be that dominant scorer too, but he can't be that dominant scorer with the Spurs because they play great team basketball. No one is bigger than the group. It's like the Temptations. He wants to be David Ruffin. Right now, he's
Oh,
Otis. He's
oh,
Otis Williams, right? So
nice analogy there.
yeah, thank you. It just came to me. But I think he wants to be that guy. He wants to be the LeBron James. He wants to be the Michael Jordan. He wants to polish his game and create his game to be around an offensive mindset. He can't do that with the Spurs. Uh, right now, I don't know where he can go. The Lakers can entice him. They can actually trade him to another team. But right now, I know he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to play with the Spurs anymore. for the sake of his game and his legacy in the NBA, he's going to leave. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because Brian Windhorst said that the future of LeBron could be tied with Kawhi. He said this past Monday that, quote, the Los Angeles Lakers should be having meetings right now about what trade packages they're going to offer the Spurs the day after the Spurs season is over, which could be shortly. Look, people are paying attention to free agency, but there's more ways to get players than just free agency. You can trade for them, end quote. And then he said, if the Cavs get knocked out before the finals and LeBron has 6 weeks to think about it and 6 weeks to get in touch with Kawhi, then things could get a little crazy. But
Mm.
just think about Philadelphia, for example. I can construct you a way that Philadelphia could trade for Kawhi Leonard and sign LeBron James. That possibility exists, end quote. There are really so many possibilities. I don't know if you think the the teaming up with him and LeBron is a possibility, or Philadelphia. Is there a certain destination you think he will go to?
I would like to see him with LeBron, to
That'll be
be
interesting.
honest. Because LeBron will allow him to be that guy he wants to be. LeBron makes people better. He drains every ounce of you. He expects every ounce of energy,
Mm-hmm.
dedication out of you. I think Kawhi will play great with him. Two great defenders on the same team.
Wow.
You can't beat that. The destination, maybe LeBron stays and Kawhi Leonard comes to the Cavs. I don't know if they can afford him. The possibility of both of them going to the Lakers or to Philly. They go to Philly. Oh my. Oh mackerel. Like that would
The
be
process would be done. There would be no more process. The process would be complete.
well,
Like they would have these like computer generators like process complete. It's like it's done.
seriously. And I'm thinking like if that happens, who leaves?
Yeah.
Joel Embiid. I'm just thinking of the lineup. Does
I
Ben
just want to see.
Simmons?
Can we at least see 1 year of this of the potential that they have just play out before we think about any other possibilities, because they're already good as it is.
Right. I think they will be like, it's adding KD to the Warriors, to a healthy Warriors team. But to have, I would love to see Kawhi Leonard play with LeBron James. If my logic is
You would
correct
like
about
that
who
more
that,
than Paul George and LeBron.
yes, most definitely, because I think Kawhi Leonard is a better defender than Paul, and I think he can create his own shot. When Paul has trouble, I think he's trying to find that game. He's forced to be that guy that has to pick up a dribble or create his own shot off the dribble because, like we say, he's more a post shooter, a swing pass shooter, 3-point shot. But with Kawhi Leonard, he's an all-around basketball player that wants to be known for being all-around, but mostly offensive, to be honest. But to have
Yeah.
both of those guys on the same team,
Yeah.
oh my, that just like blows my mind.
Yeah.
If
I mean, it was a bombshell that I heard. I didn't know what you thought about it, but I felt as though it was a really interesting, possibility, because, like we said, they're both really good two-way players,
yeah,
and the
mm-hmm.
fact that, look, LeBron, we're seeing what's happening right now. He's having to play in excess of 40 plus minutes,
Right.
and he's like, I could use a Kawhi right now.
He,
Like a healthy Kawhi Leonard is. I mean, now I'm putting emphasis on healthy because that's what
yeah,
has to
that's
pan
big.
out. Yeah, obviously the health issues are going to be at a premium, but just those two healthy. I mean, with Kawhi healthy and LeBron, I mean that'd be amazing.
Yeah, it would be. I I wonder if LeBron is like in the back of his mind, like, okay, Kawhi, how are you? The Claw,
Yeah,
what you want to do, bro? Like, I think it'll be an interesting matchup. But they have to have great role players to make that happen.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
But
I think
but
it'll be
but
interesting.
that possibility, those three right there, LeBron, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, it's going to be fascinating to see what decisions they make. Um, the Pelicans, they've been probably the most surprising team in the playoffs this postseason so far. The Warriors defeated the Spurs in 5, and now they're going to meet up this upcoming Saturday. Um, and and it seems like one of those things where, look, the front court matchup between Davis and Durant is going to be really fascinating. And with how Drew Holiday and Rondo have played, and how they're going smaller with Davis at the center, which is something like he's always said. I'm a power forward. That's who I am. That's the position I'm at. But he's a center now, and he's playing really well that position with having shooters, surrounding shooters, shooters around him, and the the heights of that small ball lineup and what it's been able to do. And Steph, he's not cleared to play yet, not coming back yet, and he may come back later in the series, or if the Pelicans, make it more interesting, he may come back quicker. So what are your thoughts on this, like a preview of this series right now?
It all depends. Excuse me. It all depends on Steph Curry appearance. Right now, I think Drew Holiday can stick anybody on. I think he can stick Clay. I think he can stick Iguodala. I think he can stick anybody on that basketball team. But the test is, if Steph Curry comes back, he's questionable for game one. If he comes back, I don't think he can stick Steph Curry because,
No.
like you said in previous podcasts, Steph brings a different element, draws people in that leaves Clay open. Rondo can't hold Clay Thompson. Like,
No.
I don't think Drew Holiday will be on Steph Curry, but now we don't know if he's there. If Drew Holiday can stick anybody. So I think the
Yeah.
matchup will be, like you said, Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis. And I think I give the upside to Anthony Davis because he's a pure basketball player in the paint. KD can't mix up in the paint like Anthony Davis can. Not take anything away with KD.
Yeah.
But the
I don't, I,
matchup, right?
and I don't think Durant necessarily has to win that matchup, but
Yeah,
it's going to be important.
yeah, it definitely is. If you let Anthony Davis get a hot streak early and often, it's going to be a long game without Steph. A
Yeah.
long game without Steph. Drew Holiday has to play with the same intensity that he played against the Portland Trailblazers. Can he do that? Because he surprised me. Drew Holiday surprised me in that series. Who would have ever thought he stopped and shut down Damian Lillard?
But you can make a case this season. He's all defensive, an all defensive player. Like you really like he's a kind of an underrated two-way player, and the fact that he's kind of been he kind of was a second option in that series, and with how Rondo was playing, I didn't expect him to take Lillard. I didn't expect Lillard to be completely taken out of that series. Like he was like how they like how we were talking about the traps, how they aggressively trapped him. I mean, it was astonishing, and how Drew Holiday has played. That definitely was the second most surprising thing out of that run.
Yeah, and I agree. But right now, I think they match up well. It just depends on if Steph Curry comes back. When Steph comes back, then the Warriors have, well, it just depends on if he's completely healthy.
Yeah,
Because we see him come back and go off, like shoot. I think he was like 7 for 10 when he first came back from his injury. Then he
yeah.
got re-injured by JaVale
JaVale
McGee.
McGee.
JaVale, oh,
JaVale.
I said it right. Winner, chicken dinner.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Last time I got it wrong. Whatever. But
JaVale.
Javal, I mean JaVale, tomato tomato.
Speaking, what are his shows? Parking Lot Chronicles. Good,
Oh yeah, I like
pretty
it.
good show. Pretty good show.
Yeah, he's a
He does
funny
a good job.
guy. He's
He
a
really
funny guy.
is.
He's really funny. Like he's super weird, but he's super
That's the
funny.
thing. He's like weird, but he's like funny and cool at the same time.
Right.
He's 7 feet.
He's like a guy like, man, I could hang around you every day. Like
Exactly.
I think every day would be new with you.
Yeah. But with the Pelicans, do you feel as though I, with how they're playing and just the momentum that they have, I have a kind of like a two-way question for you. Now, first of all, with the Portland series, do you feel as though it may have been one of those things where the Pelicans are that good, or was it Portland was like that bad? And how concerning do you feel as though the Warriors may feel without Steph, um, heading into a matchup with Anthony Davis, just maybe one of the best players, and not maybe one of the best players in the league, and is playing like at a top tier level, at an amazing top tier level, because that 47-point game, that was his best game of the series, but he also was quietly having a dominant series. But it's just how good he plays. We just kind of get used to it, and then he had the monster game with the 47 points.
Well, the first question, I don't think the Trailblazers was terrible I think they ran into a team they underestimated because they didn't think they had Boogie, and I don't think they thought Drew Holiday would have that type of effect on their best player.
Right.
And when it comes to that, we know they consistently make it to the postseason, but they just don't finish when it comes to the postseason with the Trailblazers. And I think they were surprised because I was surprised the Pelicans making a run to go to the postseason and sweeping Wellington.
Yeah.
A good Trailblazers team led by Damian Lillard, one of the most underrated point guards and players in the NBA with CJ McCollum. That was a surprise. I think they underestimated him. They watched film, they broke him down literally to a T, and they took his strengths from him. I think they underestimated the New Orleans Pelicans without Boogie Collins. Boogie Cousins. I'm sorry, Boogie Collins. I'm thinking of a movie. Sorry.
Maybe you're thinking of Zach Collins. Zach Collins plays for Portland.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh man, but I don't think they were that bad. I think just underestimated a team that was without one of the best players.
Boogie Collins.
That's somebody's
I'm
name.
sorry.
Seriously, that's somebody's name for real.
I'm gonna be googling that. Who is Boogie Collins?
Man, I'm the worst when it comes to like memory and names. Like it just whatever.
Definitely understand it. It happens.
In the second question, without Steph playing a good team, I think like I said, New Orleans Pelicans watch them to a T. They break people down. I think they don't underestimate them. Without Steph, I don't
and
think
Alvin Gentry. Alvin Gentry knows them pretty well too. He was their assistant coach a couple years ago.
Exactly. Well, that's another upside. I didn't know that. That's not in my notes. But I think without Steph Curry, they don't have that cherry on the top.
Right?
Like when Kevin Durant came, before he came, they were already good. They knew how to win, but when they brought KD over, it was just a cherry on top, and it bring a different element. And now I'm seeing with full vision what you say about Steph Curry all the time. He brings a different element to the basketball team. I think Steph Curry is more valuable than KD. I'm admitting it, Walter. You said this multiple times, and I'm finally admitting and seeing with full vision, clear eyes. I'm sitting with clear eyes that he's more valuable than KD. And without him, it's going to be tough. They have to. Klay Thompson have to play better. KD has to be that dominant force on both sides, front court and the back court. But without him, it's going to be tough. Definitely tough.
Yeah, it definitely is. But to close this topic out, there are three things I have convinced you on. Chris Paul, you were in this past summer, you weren't convinced, but I convinced you with Chris Paul. Number 2, Joel Embiid. I said Joel Embiid has to play at a higher level than Ben Simmons. I convinced you of that. And then number 3, Steph Curry. This is I'm just kind of keeping count of the three things I can. Pretty interesting. But it definitely will be a fascinating series to see how Davis and Durant, how that matchup plays out, and how the Warriors can play without Steph as long as he's out. The team that we've kind of been we kind of addressed with the Kawhi free agency possibilities, it was the Philadelphia 76ers, and they beat Miami this past Monday and 1-5, and now they're going to play the winner of Boston Milwaukee, and this is a team that I really feel like has the possibility of making a finals run. I'm not saying that they're going to make the finals, but the possibility is really high. And how Ben Simmons was playing during that stretch of 16 games without Embiid was phenomenal, and then Embiid comes back, not even 100%, and he's making impact plays on the defensive end with blocks, and still has a great shooting touch. Like you said, he was a little rusty, but finding his rhythm back. And with the veteran shooting with Bellinelli, Ilyasova, Redick, it's the high-end production with the young talent and the veteran shooting. And I think JJ Redick is such a huge grounding, force. He's been in moments like these, and I think his impact can't be stated enough in terms of just leading this team. But with what they're doing, because I feel like there's two teams that we can make a comparison to. Yeah. The 86 Rockets, 95 Magic,
Okay.
No, I'm just I'm not comparing them like, oh, they're as good as these Kings, but these were two young teams that made the finals.
Okay.
Ralph
I got you.
Sampson, Akeem Olajuwon in '86 had a huge impact in leading the Rockets to the finals. They lost to the Celtics in six, and then the '95 Magic with Penny Hardaway and Shaq, and then you had Horace Grant and I'm trying to think of the other guy, Horace Grant,
Oh,
uh,
excuse me. Oh, shoot. Oh man. First grade.
Dennis Scott. Dennis
Yeah, yeah,
Scott.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
There we go.
Dennis Scott. And, they made it to the finals, lost to Houston. But in terms of what this Philly team has the potential as, because I'm not trying to just, skyrocket them already to the finals, but how do you feel as though their chances are in how they've been playing?
Their chances are high. I think whatever team makes it out, Celtics or Milwaukee, I think they match up. Their matchup is stronger than anybody. I think they have the upside in any matchup coming with the Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks because they have a bench. They have
Mm-hmm.
like you said, veteran players, JJ Redick, Bellinelli shooting well and streaky. When they shoot well and they streak, they play on all cylinders. You have Ben Simmons who can do so much. I'm still high. He's a great defensive player. He can
Yeah.
facilitate. He can do all the things you
He can
necessary.
be
And then,
special.
oh yeah, I'm still believing in Fultz. I want him to get acclimated and bring that element. That's why he was the first pick of the draft. And then you have Joel Embiid. The process is almost finished with those guys. I think that
Mm-hmm.
the process is almost done. They can make a run for it. Uh,
Yeah.
make a big run to the finals. Can they win the finals? It's going to be extremely tough, but it's
The biggest
possible.
thing, the biggest thing to start off, if they make the finals, that's huge.
Yeah,
I mean, like
first,
that's the
yeah,
biggest thing. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and wonder if they can make just them making it there is. I mean, this was a team that multiple losing seasons, you know,
yeah,
uh, and
yeah.
all of that culminating like in a finals appearance, that would be pretty incredible. But do you feel as though with, let's just say they were in a series versus Toronto or Cleveland, and I don't feel I don't even feel great about putting Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals discussion. I'm just gonna say Toronto, but let's just say they're in a they're in a series with Toronto,
I'm sorry.
a 7 game series.
Right.
Would you really feel comfortable putting them over like a a Toronto team, um, overall best overall record in the East, has more experience? Would you really feel comfortable putting them over that type of team?
I think Toronto doesn't finish. They're
Right.
struggling. They came
They're
out on
struggling against this
fire, and now
Washington
they're
series.
struggling against Washington Wizards. The Wizards. They're struggling with the Wizards. You come out and you win. I think they win the first two games,
Mm.
and then you lose the next two, and then now it's I think what is
3-2
3-2.
Toronto.
I don't know, man. I was high on them, but they can't finish in the postseason. They always have trouble in the postseason. So right now, you get a young team who's hungry that has they mark the tangibles they have. They check every box. Got a great point guard who can play defense. Check. They got a big man that can shoot the three, play defense, and make an incredible hole for whoever slash. Check. They have
Mm.
old guys who can shoot threes. Check. Like they check every box as a team that can make it to the finals and who can win the finals. They check every box. That's why I say the process is almost finished. Adding any other player this offseason will be like the cherry on top because those guys are gelling well. Like I keep emphasizing, if Fultz can come into the starting role and be like a shooting guard or move Ben Simmons to the shooting guard position, take
Mm.
JJ Redick out or put him at the small forward position, that lineup can be something fierce. They have so much potential that they haven't even tapped into yet fully. But I think they win the Eastern Conference Finals if the Toronto keeps struggling and can't finish games and can't get out of series when they should have swept the series, then it's gonna be a problem for them.
Well,
Watch out.
it's not like the Wizards are like horrible. I mean, like this is not like this is a very different eight-seeded team. This is an eight-seeded team with John Wall, a lot of talent in the starting lineup. They can be Jekyll and Hyde. you don't know like which Washington you're gonna get. But I feel as though like Dwayne Casey was saying, like, do we really think that uh, a healthy John Wall with the Wizards is an 8 seeded team? Like this is a very different 8 seeded 1-8 matchup. But like you said, like they do have Toronto does have the tendency to kind of resort back to their old ways and play isolation basketball with DeMar and Kyle Lowry, because when their offense kind of gets in a funk and things kind of get grimy and they kind of don't know, they kind of don't trust what they've usually been doing. And I also feel like the absence of Fred VanVleet has been a big issue because he spearheads that second unit so well. And I mean, I know DeLon Wright has given some impact there, Siakam, but I mean, Fred VanVleet kind of out has like I have seen a lag in their second unit.
Well, I mean that's a good point. I'm not big on the Washington Wizards. I like Bradley Beal. I like John
I'm not
Wall.
either, but I'm
Yeah,
just saying like
yeah.
this isn't like your typical eight seeded team.
Okay, I got
Um, so you're going with Philly to win the East right now. Is that kind of like where you're feeling?
almost there. I'm with them all the way. And all the way. I think they beat either the Celtics are not enough. Without Kyrie, they're not enough.
I do feel like it will be a more competitive matchup with Milwaukee though.
I think so.
Um,
If it just
just based
depends
on their
on
their
what
coaching in depth.
right, and it depends on if Jabari Parker shows up.
Mm.
Ruanos Antetokounmpo Antetokounmpo shows up every game. He's a phenomenal basketball player, but Jabari Parker has been silent ever since he came into the league. You
Yeah.
got Eric Bledsoe, who plays good defense, and he can score every once in a while, but no. I don't think you
Yeah.
can hold Ben Simmons.
We might as well go into our next topic since we're talking about Milwaukee.
Oh,
And
sorry.
oh no. I was just saying it was perfect because this is our next topic with Marcus Smart. He was out for 6 weeks with a torn ligament in his right hand, and he I mean, not 9 points, 2 of 7 shooting, 4 assists, 5 turnovers, but there were some plays that were just typical Marcus Smart plays, and I really like Marcus Smart. I feel as though sometimes he can be under noted, not appreciated as much
Mm-hmm.
because of his offensive deficiencies. But I mean, he was going after loose balls. That one play where he deflected the alley oop from Giannis was a huge play, and I mean, at times, defended the rim well. I mean, as a rim protector, and he's a really good man-to-man defender, and his
Yeah.
defense on Chris Middleton, keeping him from the rim was exceptional. So with I was asking you when I sent you the topic, I was asking you like, does he add a defensive element? Like that's not a question. Like he definitely does add a defensive
Yeah.
element. But with what he's added, what are your thoughts on it and how they go forward in this series?
I think Marcus Smart is the face of the defense. I think that it showed. It was more evident in the game against, the Rockets when he had a great
Yeah,
defensive game
on
against
Harden.
James Harden, and he showed that I may not be the offensive presence that we need. That's why we brought in Kyrie, and that's why we brought in Gordon Hayward. But I'm the defensive guy. That's what I do. He's not a big guy. He's only 6'4". He's a top 10 defender in the league for a reason. And he was out for 6 weeks. Given that
Yeah,
him and Gobert was out for a long time, and still think Gobert is number 6, and Marcus Smart is right behind him. So he's he's top 10 defensive player for a reason. I think without him, they don't have that defensive presence at all. It's evident, but he makes plays. He goes above and beyond for the basketball team. He's the guy who sacrifices his body every play, dives, uh, goes
yeah,
in and blocks big the field like he deflected Giannis alley hoop shot. So you want that type of guy on your basketball team, especially without the presence of Kyrie Irving or Gordon Hayward, the top
hmm
guys on the team. So you need a player to step up. No shot to Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Those guys are coming in and doing phenomenally for the team. But without Marcus Smart's the defensive presence, they're nothing, to be honest, on the defensive
yeah,
side.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way as well, and just kind of the hustle and grit that he adds to that team
Yeah.
is is really good. And like with on the offensive side with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, I mean, they've they come I think they combined for like 55 in game 4 against Milwaukee, and that's like something that hasn't happened since Westbrook and Durant. And how they've stepped up has been really impressive. But do you feel as though with this series, because I feel as though whether it's a game 6 or game 7, I feel as though Boston will win this series. Do you feel as though it's one of those things with Boston, like they just don't have enough offensively, and they're going to have to keep the game close defensively to have a chance to win a series?
Yeah. I think you answered the questions as soon as you gave me that question. But
Yeah,
to go further, yeah, I definitely believe that. I don't think they have enough experience on the scoring side to compete with the 76er team, let alone a Toronto team or even a Cavaliers team, which is kind of ironic to even say that because normally Cavaliers are on the top tier
yeah.
of the basketball monument or whatever. But but at
They're not
this
on the
point, like
monument this. They're not on the monument this year.
no, they're not on the pedestal. LeBron's trying to bring everybody with him. He got a rope around his waist. He's carrying the team like he always does. But what we always get to always
Why do
talk
we
about
always talk
LeBron.
about the Cavs?
I don't know because it's not the same
We
Cavaliers
have
team we're
this like
used to.
obsession and fascination with like every like Cavs. J.R. Smith throwing soup at somebody, like everything that happens, we just want to talk about the Cavs. I don't know.
I don't know, man. It's not the same Cavaliers team. And I'm like, oh. Now, the other day, I really thought, I was like, man, he's leaving. Like, oh, God, he's
Right.
really leaving. I don't want him to leave, but he's leaving. But anyways, back to the point. I don't think Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum has the experience enough to compete like that. They need a Kyrie. They need a leader. Those guys are
Yeah.
not leaders. They're forced to be, but they don't have enough
I
experience.
mean, and you
Kyrie's
were
been
talking
here.
about Al Horford. His presence. Do you feel as though that's going to be a big thing going ahead, like his veteran experience?
I don't know. I don't know. He's so quiet.
Yeah.
He's like a light uh, a light Tim Duncan. Like the light package that you put in water. He's not the name brand. He's not a bad guy. He's been good since he came from Florida, but he's not that guy. He's not that guy you lean to. You know, he's I don't know. I can't explain it really. I know this is supposed to be a podcast where we explain sports, but when it comes to Al Horford, I don't know. I don't know how to,
Yeah.
to
You
explain
don't
his
have that
play.
have this same like just invigorating,
Yeah,
yeah, morale.
he's not the big fundamental. He's like the
Right.
yeah. He's just a guy. That's so bad to say. He's just a guy on the basketball
Oh,
team.
pretty just think that's interesting.
He's just a guy, and I think he's underrated for a reason. When he was with the Atlanta Hawks, he was the same way. He was underrated. He wasn't big talk. Jeff Teague was bigger talk than him. Kyle Korver was bigger talk than him. So he has experience, but he's not that guy. And I think it shows on the basketball court. That's why they needed Kyrie.
Yeah,
Lord have
that is like the revolving thing. Just
yeah,
even when
Kyrie.
even when they're looking really good, they have a lapse like they kind of did in game 3, and then game 4
Mhm.
they made the comeback but just couldn't close it out with Giannis putting the tip in at the end. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it plays out. To close it out for the NBA topics, the Cavs game was a pretty incredible ending. LeBron had the block on Oladipo, even though it like the NBA just announced today with with
Mhm.
the league review, it was a goaltend.
Yeah.
And I mean, those are always interesting because it's like, it seems like counterproductive. The game's over, and then we're announcing, look, that call actually should have been this
Right.
or that. But I don't know. It definitely offers hindsight. Um, but with the LeBron hit the game winning three, and I mean Indiana was right there at the end, and the block and then the shot. Um, what were your thoughts just to wrap this up on Cleveland's comeback and kind of how they can go ahead? I mean, how things will play out in this series. This series where Cleveland really hasn't had a comfortable win. It's just always been down to the wire.
Right. I think it's down to the wire because the guys that's on the Cavaliers team, we finally get to talk about the Cavs. On the team are not making the open shots that they're giving. J.R. Smith is not open. I mean, sorry, I stuttered there. J.R. Smith is not making open shots.
Right.
Hood is not making open shots. LeBron James is forced to have that Jordan-esque mentality, and he's the type of guy that doesn't want to have it. But this game, you can see him. He's the best finisher
Mm-hmm.
in the league.
Oh yeah.
Let's be honest. He's the best finisher in the league. He's so big. He's so versatile. He can do anything, spin moves, body you up, strong arm. He can do all those things, but he doesn't want to. He has to. 46 points. He has to. It's
Yeah.
no, he has to be that guy. And I think he's forced to have that Jordan-esque mentality. And the play specifically, I think it was a bang play because we're so used to LeBron doing that. And I think the referees was like, it must be correct. And LeBron traveled like 3 times in that game. I love the guy to death, but he travels to every
Yeah.
state, literally. He travels so much. I think it's his feet. He has big feet. He can't help it. Leave him alone. He can't help it. But no,
Kind of like the James Harden thing. Like whenever he does a step back, people are like, "Wow, he's really
he
traveling."
does the square dance every time he does that. Like,
Yeah.
spin your partner around and around. Like, like he's done it like 3 times. Like, that's a travel. I know you put whatever. I digress. But for him to do that and playing big minutes and have to, score close to 50 points a game, I don't know if his body 15 year. I know he say he feel better than any other year he's been in the league, but
You
that
can't
wear
keep
and
winning
tear on
like
you.
this.
Yeah.
Like
No.
at one point, it's just it's gonna fizzle because um like sometimes these close games go out for you in the right way, and then they go out for you in the wrong way. And I feel as though
Yeah.
that may be happening. But with these game sixes, we got Cleveland, Indiana on Friday, Utah, OKC, Washington, Toronto. What are your thoughts on who do you see winning those three to close the NBA topics out?
Toronto finishes out. The cat. Shoot, man, that's difficult, man, because it's like
Yeah.
sporadic with these teams, and I want to give you a definite, specific answer
Oh,
and be
it's tough. It's tough.
yeah. But these series are like it's not like a clear. Well, obviously you got a couple guys sweeping and going to 4-1, but some of these games are not clear cut winners.
Yeah.
Like I want OKC to come out, but I don't see them coming out. I don't see Westbrook having that big of a game or Parker having as big of a game they did the game before. So Jazz, the Toronto comes out, and I'm not going to say about Cavaliers. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, I really have no idea about that one either. But yeah, I feel as though Toronto, Washington's gonna go to 7. Um,
Really?
yeah, I really do. Because they're not a really good. They haven't been playing really well on the road, and
True.
Wall and Bill have played really well. So I'd really like to see them close it out because I'm just ready for Cleveland, Toronto. It it it's a series. I'm just ready for it.
Right.
It needs to happen. Because like that's kind of been the biggest thing with Toronto. They've changed their style of play, and the team that they haven't been able to get past the last few years has been Cleveland, and now we're going to see can they put it to work everything they've done and stick to that new system and finally beat the Cavs if the Cavs get out of this series. So yeah, I feel as though okay, Utah closes it out. Washington wins, and I'm just gonna go with Cleveland. I, opposite, challenging my better judgment. I feel as though they're gonna close this series out, and it definitely is gonna be interesting to see what goes ahead in these game sixes.
Yeah.
Transitioning to college basketball, they I think they held a college basketball commission meeting this past Wednesday, and they were talking about topics of, um, pretty much the one and done issue, the corruption issue, just grassroots basketball in general. And one of the quotes that the College Basketball Commission, pretty much their recommendation was this quote: "One and done has played a significant role in corrupting and destabilizing college basketball, restricting the freedom of choice of players, and undermining the relationship of college basketball to the mission of higher education, end quote. And there were the reports that look, high school players they won't be able to enter the NBA until at least 2020, and the NBA has tried to hammer down the anti-tanking rules and all of those things. But you know, I feel as though if a player is ready out of high school to enter the league, he should be able to do it. And same thing with college. Like if 1 year they're ready, they should be able to go enter their profession and have success in it. But obviously, the College Basketball Commission, they have concerns about it. They're wondering if these players are actually getting this is actually benefiting the players or hurting the players long term in life. So what are your thoughts on just this meeting and the after effects?
I don't think the one and done for college will ever go away. I think it's a negative and a positive part of college basketball in the NBA. Now, when it pertains to high school students going straight to the NBA like LeBron James did, or players before him did, I don't think I never agree to that. As a athlete, and as I think they at least should have 1 year of college, to get them ready for the inconsistencies and the erraticness of the NBA. Because some guys come straight out of some guys coming straight out of high school.
So you're saying you didn't agree with
No,
like high school players like LeBron or Tracy McGrady coming out?
I didn't agree with Tracy. I didn't agree with LeBron. I didn't agree with Kobe. I didn't agree with Kevin Garnett. All those guys have phenomenal basketball careers, but as a player, I at least want to experience college, experience the next level. I want to be completely ready. Not saying some players are not completely ready not saying players are completely ready coming out the one and done, but at least giving them an opportunity to get that level of knowledge of the game that they need to become successful in the NBA. I never agree with going straight out of high school. I like the one and done. I do.
Yeah, it's definitely a conflicting issue because we like especially with the corruption scandal and all the after effects of that definitely put a just put a scope on just how things were actually being managed by coaches and just recruits and on all of those things. Also with the Louisville situation, but for me, maybe their games would have been more refined, like Tracy McGrady and LeBron. But I feel like LeBron was just ready to come out. Could he have used college? Yeah, like anybody can use college. There's always there's never a downside to going to college. You become, well, well, what I'm saying is there are positives to college. Maybe I should put it like that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on?
Well, I mean, I don't want to get in too deep in depth into it because we have to move on with other topics.
Yeah.
But I know it's just pros and cons of everything in life, and I think there's a lot of cons of going to college. But that's just me going 4 years and finishing out a degree. It's it has cons, but I don't want to get too in depth and intellectual and philosophical or whatever. I don't want to do that. This is about sports, about players coming out and being the best they can be. That's what we're talking about, Walton.
Yeah, definitely. But it'll definitely be interesting to see kind of like just the future decisions, especially with high school players maybe being able to enter the league in 2020 and how that'll go on. Transitioning to the NFL, Saquon Barkley. I just got this update. Saquon Barkley taken by the Giants. So we had the topic of coming in of should the Giants take a quarterback for the future or Barkley. They've already made their decision. it's Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
So as they kind of just focused on a running back, a dynamic running back, and kind of bolster their running attack. What are your thoughts on their decision and how he can perform in the league? Because running backs, they tend to have a shorter career. With just the grind and the wear and tear of that position, it's kind of become a quarterback driven league. What are your thoughts on their decision overall?
I think it was a good move by them. I think they had a lot of needs on their football team. I think the running game was one to help out Eli Manning and help out some of the wide receivers, and to have that balance in the NFL. But you know, I think they still should draft a quarterback. I think a quarterback position is uh, it's vital because Eli's 37, David Webb, we don't know what he can be, but the Giants have had, they didn't have a lot of success in the running game in the past 10 years, to be honest. They didn't have a good running game since, Brandon Jacobs or even Tiki Barber. They whiffed on a couple running backs, to be honest. But it's just, I don't know, it's just interesting to see. I think Brandon Jacobs was their most successful running back in a long, long time. So to have a running back that's versatile, that can hit the big run, he has pretty good speed. He can contribute in the passing game. He's like Ezekiel Elliott. He's a bigger running back. But yeah, I think it was a good move on him. I think their offense needs it.
Yeah, and the last part of this topic, the Giants general manager Dave Gettleman, he recently made a comment in terms of just the value of the running back. He said, "quote I think that the devaluing of the running back is really a myth. If you have a great running back, he immediately makes your quarterback better, your offensive line better, and your passing game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't believe in it. It's how you evaluate the players, how we value them, how we rate them, and then you go on from there. Do you agree with that evaluation from him, saying like, look, he doesn't really buy the devaluing and that it's still a pretty valuable position?
I think so. I agree wholeheartedly because running back who does everything the coaches, whatever the team needs, makes a quarterback better. And when you look at a good team, they always have at least a good one or two good running backs that can sustain the offense and balance out the offense. So the defense won't be one minded and they can key in on the quarterback. I think running backs like Ezekiel Elliott makes Dak Prescott way better than when he's out. And the 6 game suspension showed that last year. Uh, Even Ben Roethlisberger without Le'Veon Bell, that showed. Like players like that make quarterbacks offensive line better. They get a sigh of relief when they come back because they're so versatile. They can do anything in the pass game, running game. They're successful. So I don't think. Well, I do think the running backs are a little devalued a little bit, but I think they
Mhm.
still have a significant upside for offense to be successful.
Yeah, definitely. Our last topic for today is Baker Mayfield, how he can and his he was just taken by the Cleveland Browns.
What?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, breaking.
Wow.
Number one overall draft pick. And one of the things I heard there were I think Chris Mortensen from ESPN say the the Browns were already convinced of this decision like 6 weeks before. Like they already were like deadlocked in, like this is the guy we want. I was really surprised by that because I was just wondering which quarterback they would go with. I mean, they have Tyrod Taylor, Drew Stanton, but that was a really interesting decision. And with Baker Mayfield, obviously had a stellar career in college. And the new documentary, I don't know if you've seen the Behind Baker. It's been pretty interesting to kind of see him behind the curtains. Definitely a polarizing figure, but in terms of their decision with taking him number one overall, what are your thoughts?
Um, it's a good move. I'm a little surprised. I thought they'd go more of the defensive route with Well, not Bradley Chubb, but more of adding. I thought he'd just go defense. To be honest, Bradley
Yeah,
Chubb would have been a good move.
you
Or
seem to be taken aback by it.
I am
Yeah.
because I thought I had him going to either to the Jets or the Bills, but I think they got a great quarterback. Yeah, he's only 6 foot in stature, but he makes up in the mechanics. He's the best quarterback in the draft, the most accurate quarterback in the draft. He has solid mechanics. He has the ability to throw on any platform. He can throw on the run. I think he's more accurate on the run. He can make people miss. He has good pocket presence, what you want in a quarterback. His accuracy is the biggest thing. He's accurate. I know that the knock against him, he played in a spread offense, which kind of, is made for getting wide receiver opens, and his statistics is more towards him throwing to open receivers, but you can't knock him for that. You still have to throw those, make those throws. But it's so hard to have, negative comments or negative things about him because he doesn't make big mistakes. He has that leadership. He has that drive. He's been there. He's stayed for 4 years. He has the quarterback IQ. But
Yeah.
it's a big surprise for me. I thought he was going to go either the Jets but Browns wanted him, I guess. But it leads to me the question: why Tyrod Taylor? Why get
Yeah.
Tyrod?
That's really the thing because it seems like that's the guy you would want to. If you got Tyra Taylor, you're saying like this is the guy we want to play, and it it, it almost puts it in a puzzling position because I really felt as though when they got Tyra Taylor, like they were saying like that was kind of their guy at the quarterback position. Now they're getting a guy who has, like you said, probably the most talented quarterback, or arguably the most talented quarterback in the draft, and it puts it kind of at a situation of where they actually want to go, because I definitely feel as though the mechanics with Baker are really good and at a high level. But with you know the Browns have said they're going to play Taylor and just make this a learning experience for Baker where he can kind of see how the quarterback position is played at the NFL level and kind of learn from Tyrod Taylor. But it's definitely a puzzling situation that they're in.
Yeah. And I just got to update that Chubb's. Wow, Sam Darnold. Sam
Jets.
Darnold is with the Jets. I don't like that. Bradley Chubb just got picked up by the Broncos. Man, this has been a. Oh, okay. Okay. They did have the first and fourth pick. I knew they was going
Yeah.
to go defensive wise, but I thought they were going to do that first pick and then go against somebody else. But okay. Okay. That's interesting. It's going to be an interesting draft.
You would have gone all defensive. It sounds like if you were the GM, you would have gone all defensive.
Yeah, because I think it's going to be available quarterbacks that can still make drive in the second because they have like 3 or 4 picks in the second round. So I'm guessing you're going to use their second round picks for more defensive players and probably a left tackle, which is the one position I know they need to fill because Joe Thomas has retired. So I think that was an interesting move by not the Broncos, by the Bears. But more and more I think about it, I just hope Baker Mayfield becomes another Johnny Manziel, but I think he's way better than Johnny.
I,
He has better mechanics than Johnny.
what is the probability of that? Because I really hope that's not the case too. Do you think it has the probability of that? Because I think he's the mechanics and the things that he offers are a lot better than Manziel. But do you really think that can be a possibility or not so much?
I think it's a slim chance because I think the big difference between those two is Baker Mayfield is extremely accurate. He's an accurate ball player. I think his pocket presence is better than Johnny. Johnny both can be elusive in the pocket, extend plays, throw on the run. But I think both have strong arms. But I think the big difference is the accuracy. The accuracy in the quarterback play, mid range, long, deep ball, short range, being able to trust your offensive lineman and to make plays.
Yeah.
I think that's the big difference. I think the chances are slim. I think they work him into it. I think Tyrod Taylor will be the starting quarterback starting off until Baker gets acclimated, but I don't think it will be too long until Baker becomes a starter. I think they got him first pick for a reason, to be honest. So they really
Okay.
like him, obviously. So, I mean, yeah, he's definitely not going to be a Johnny, but I just hope that doesn't happen.
Right.
But different head coach, different system, different GM. So we'll see.
Yeah, it definitely should be interesting to see some of the other moves that are going to happen. That wraps it up for today. I'm your host, Juan Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. This has been Full Scope. See you later.